Hey booktube, it's finally October. Spooky season is finally here. You can probably tell I'm in my element, although the spookiest thing about this might be that the lighting keeps changing, so I thought, given this is my favourite time of year and I have a few things planned this month and I have a lot of really interesting sort of reads to do this month, I figured I wanted to do a sort of spooky, seasonal, autumnal kind of vlog. And since there are some fun things that I want to do this month, I figured I could take you guys along with me. So as for what I'm reading, I have pretty much just started Babel by R.F. Kuang. The most I know about this one is that it's gothic, it's either a fantasy or like magical realism, I'm not entirely sure. It's also dark academia, and it's like wonderful and dark and black in person as well. So my first impression going into this, I didn't really know the kind of characters that we were going to be following, but it's safe to say that from the setup I'm sufficiently intrigued. I think I can kind of tell from the outset what sort of book this is going to be, and I think it's one that I will like as long as my brain can stick out the part whenever we get to the university, because I know it's coming. At the moment I'm not really far enough in to say much more than that. I've pretty much just read the opening. I have also noticed this book has footnotes, which is something that I really liked when Nevernight did it, and I've always liked when Terry Pratchett has done it, so I feel like it may just be a thing that I enjoy footnotes in books. So this is the first book that I'll be reading for this vlog. I'm not going to be giving spoilers or anything, so for any of the books I read it will be like spoiler free. I'll give like some maybe like updates and opinions, but I won't spoil any of the actual like events. So I think at the moment what I might do is I might just sort of light a candle, like a wonderfully autumnal scented candle. I might make myself something to drink and just sit down and read this book. I'm honestly not as used to having so much to read in like a specific time frame as I used to be, so I feel like actually focusing on sitting down and reading is something that I need to like consciously do right now. So that is where we're at. I hope you guys will join me, and yeah, I think I'm gonna go sort of tuck myself in and like get comfy and start reading. Hello, I am very much cozied up in bed right now, but it is time for an update, and I have read about the first book of Babel. So apparently it's split into like, you get to like the first part and that's like the end of the first book. Honestly, how snug can I get? Yeah, so it's I'm finding this book really interesting so far, but I am enjoying, I guess, the sort of vibe, the atmosphere, and anytime when there's a conversation about like words or etymology or anything like that, I really like those bits because I just like those conversations. Like I could read a whole book about that, fantastical or otherwise. And like the magic system, I'm not sure it's going to be explained in more detail at any point, but I think I kind of get like the gist of it. I think it's still kind of too early for me to tell whether I will really like this or not. I'm not disliking it so far, but like I'm not in love with it, and it is taking me a lot longer to read. Like I feel like I'm reading slower than I normally would be, and again I don't know if that's just because of like the setting or if it's just like maybe I'm not completely enraptured with like the content. I'm just thinking about when I read The Cuckoo, and like that took me a couple days to read that whole book and it's massive, whereas this is a shorter book and it's taking me like a lot longer to get through. More than that, I'm not really sure just yet. I don't know why I'm holding this book so weird. It just looks like a big black, like dark shape without the dust jacket on, so I'm just gonna put it down. So yeah, I think it's too early to tell how I feel about this book. That said, there are a couple of other things that I want to get done. I feel like one of them, I don't know if I'm gonna include it here or maybe like make it a standalone video, don't really know. And I also feel like my hair needs some attention because it is severely grown out. It's pretty bad underneath, so I may just have to have like a day of taking care of things at home and hopefully get some reading done in between things, and then hopefully by the time that I check in next I will have read some more, because like depending on how long it takes me to read this, I do still have to leave time for the rest of the books on my TBR, because if they all turn out to be slow books I have a problem. Okay, I don't think I have anything else to say, so I'm gonna check back in when I actually have something worthwhile to speak about.
My first girlfriend turned into the moon. That's rough, buddy.
Okay, hello again. Once again I'm looking pretty rough, but that's because I have been to work, hence the work attire. And also the fact that I look like I kind of want to die. Or even that I did die, like maybe even a few days ago. So you may have seen I tidied my shelves and I also dyed my hair because it needed doing. I still have to sort out this bit, like this needs rebleaching, but I'm always so tempted to like take out the streak, but I really like how it looks. So, Babel update, actually pre-update update, is I've been saying Babel. I got stuck trying to decide between Babel and Babel, but it's because Babel I'm pretty sure is the English pronunciation and Babel is American. And I assumed at first that it would be Babel because I'm pretty sure the author is American, but then the book is set in Oxford in the 1800s, so like it's definitely Babel. Like they would say Babel, right? Except for the fact that the nickname for the scholars, like the characters that study at Babel, is babblers. If they study at Babel, they would be babblers. And like maybe, yeah, maybe they have been given the nickname babblers, even though they study at Babel. But I feel like calling them babblers implies that you're supposed to pronounce it Babel. It goes so heavy into things like pronunciations and enunciations, and there is a lot of emphasis on like the characters all having like these pristine, like impeccable English accents. I'm still not like 100% sure on whether I like this book or not. I think I kind of like the atmosphere, but like I feel like it's just not giving me enough of what I want. Like I know the characters are friends and like there's all this stuff about them, like how they spend time together, but I feel like it's kind of mentioned and passed over like in favour of the actual plot. I personally feel like I don't really know a lot about any of the characters that aren't Robin, the main character. I don't know, like I know he cares for them, but I don't care enough yet, and I do have a lot of the book to go, so maybe like I'll get to know them better then. But so far, like, I understand who they are in relation to the main character. They just aren't anybody in relation to me. Like, the writing's fine. I don't get a massive atmosphere, to be honest. Like, it's not hugely atmospheric, and it doesn't feel like super dark or gothic to me yet. I don't get a massive sense of time period or anything like that. Like, it's not very, I guess, immersive in the setting. It's hard to explain it because, like, every single, like, chapter is about, like, Oxford and being at Oxford and being at Babel, and I suppose it's hard to describe because it's very qualitative, but, like, there are some books where when you read them you feel like you're in them. To me, this is not one of those books, but I am still kind of enjoying the plot. I feel like it's giving you a lot of breadcrumbs, and I feel like they're quite obvious breadcrumbs. So what I'm saying is, I'm enjoying the book. It's fine. I think I might turn out to like it, not entirely sure, but I'm not, like, hooked. I'm not, like, super invested. So, and again, it might just be because, like, I've read the first, like, part of it. I'm on book, I think I'm into book 3 or part 3 now. So there is still, like, over half of the book to go, which is a lot of book left to change my mind, and there's nothing I dislike about the book yet, really. It's just that I'm, like, waiting for it to hit, and it's not there yet, you know? I'm assuming the book, I'm hoping it's gonna get darker. I'm hoping it's gonna get weirder. Like, I don't feel it yet, and I guess it kind of is dark academia in the fact that, like, I don't know, it's set in an academic setting, and bad things are happening because they need to for the plot, because if nothing bad happened, there would be no plot. But I'm like, is that all dark academia is? Because, like, I feel like it needs to be darker. It's, like, it's pretty harsh in that, like, there's a lot of exclusion, there's sexism, there's racism, there's, like, a lot of talk of, like, the colonizers, but also that is just fully real-world academia. So is all academia just dark academia? Like, I feel like I should be done with this book now, but, like, it's taking so long to read, and I'm worried about the time needed to read other books. I'm starting to really hope that when it gets to Grady Hendrix, that's going to be bingeable as all hell, because it needs to be. Because otherwise, I'm going to run out of October. So pretty much my plan for the evening is, I need to, like, cook and eat at some point. I'm going to procrastinate doing that until it bites me in the ass. One thing I do want to do is, you may have seen, while I was cleaning my shelves, I found 2 candles that I don't remember buying and I did not know I own. But they're both from Grace and Honey, and so what I think I'm gonna smell them both, pick one that feels seasonal and autumnal. Like, I'm assuming one of them's gonna smell like that. They might not. They might be, like, really summery, but I feel like from the scents listed, they're going to be autumnal enough. And I think I might light one and sit down with my book and just get into, like, a good reading headspace and try and get through a big chunk of this book. Okay, you know what? I did not think this through, because you are now balanced on top of my laptop. Like, my laptop is open and on. So if you fall, you fall. But I have these 2 candles, and they are Death Before DNF and Angels. So Death Before DNF is red apples, peach and caramel. Let's see. I do like this. It's very sickly, but then, like, you get, like, this little afternote of, like, definitely, like, fruitiness. This does make me think of, like, I don't know, like a Halloween party with, like, a lot of, like, very sickly sweets. Okay, I could definitely like this. Especially because the characters in this book are, like, always going for, like, biscuits or pastries or something like that. And I feel like they talk about scones so much. Oh, so I definitely feel like that could be appropriate. The other candle, Angels, is Damask Rose, Oud, Clove and Praline. This smells very fresh. Also, I should have mentioned, they're both, like, beautiful and glittery. Like, I love that. This really reminds me more of, like, wintertime, even Christmas time. Death Before DNF is calling to me. It just smells good, okay? And I'll show you, this one also has glitter in it. This does mean I'm gonna have to keep my desk fan turned off, because even though it's, like, I've just had a look, it's not that cold. It's 11 degrees Celsius at the moment, and I still sleep with my window open. Like, my window's open 24 hours, and my desk fan is normally always on the whole time. I mainly like it for the noise, but, like, it keeps me cold. I'm like fucking Vecna, I like it cold. My desk fan will blur this out, so I will have to just suffer with being a little bit less freezing. again. So welcome back, time for another check-in. And big update, I actually finished Babel. Took me way longer than I thought it would to read. I have no idea why, but it's done. I finished it, and unfortunately I kind of don't really have any strong opinions. I didn't love this book as much as I thought I might because of sort of all the language and etymology. So like, it had potential. I don't know, I think I mentioned before that like I didn't really feel super immersed in the world. Like I didn't feel like I was there and seeing it through the character's eyes. I think I did like the story, it's just that's it. I think it is a good book. I think it's just that while I did love the language, the linguistics, I just feel like, I don't know, I guess maybe I'm just not the target audience. I think this is like the first dark academia I've ever read. I don't want to get bogged down reviewing it here, but like, I don't know, there was just something, usually in books there's a point in which you're like into the story and invested in the story and you're like, you're in that book, but it never seemed to get to that point for me. And to be honest, I feel like you could have cut out like 100 pages of this book and still had pretty much the same book. Like there was a lot of preamble before you got to like sort of the meat of things. I admit that it's like, it's a good book, it's a good story, it's just not for me. I'm sure other people will like it. I'm pretty sure people rave about this, but I don't really know what else to say about it other than I read it, I finished it, it took up way more of this month than I thought it would. But having said that, I have now moved on to my second book. I started reading Drowned Country by Emily Tesh. I feel like I should have read this first, maybe because it's very, very short, and I do feel a little bit burned out from reading Babel, so we'll see how this goes. But this is super short, so I'm hoping that I can just like breeze through this, and then I've got 2 books down. I think I'm either on page 26 or page 27, I don't remember. But I feel like I can just finish this today because it is just like super short. This is the second book in this series. Is it called like the Green Man series, or it's called the Green Hollow duology? And the first book, Silver in the Wood, I really enjoyed. I read it a couple of years ago and it was short, it was good. What else to say about it? So this is book 2. I think this might feature a vampire. I'm sure it says, I can't remember whether it's in the synopsis or whether I've just seen that like online. I've definitely heard somebody talk about this book and I'm sure they mentioned a vampire. I think I don't know if they actually mentioned it in the book yet. I don't know, I am kind of looking forward to seeing the continuation. So hopefully if I can sit down and read this today, I can have this done by the end of this vlog. So I don't know whether I'm going to check in again today. I might, depending on what time I like finish this. But tomorrow I'm actually going out to York just for the day out, and so I wanted to include that in this vlog as well because I love York so much. It's one of my favourite places. So I think I'm just gonna go for like the day out. We might look around like one of the old houses there depending on what's open, and every time I go to York I like to feed the squirrels in the park. Oh my god, I love the squirrels and their little hands. So I'm also hoping that it's going to be like autumnal, like with all the orange leaves. Hopefully it doesn't rain. I'm just kind of excited to go and see like one of my favourite places at like my favourite time of year when everything's like beautiful and like all browns and orange, and I'm just really excited about that. So if you don't get another clip from me today about finishing this, hopefully you will enjoy some clips from York. I'm not quite sure exactly what's going to happen yet. Okay, much more than that I don't really have to say, so I'm gonna go try and finish this at some point today, and I'll check in the next time I have something substantial.
여보세요? 무슨 일이야? 보고 싶었다고? 왜? 농담하지 마, 나 지금 바빠. 농담하지 마, 나 지금 바빠.